You're right, guys. Welcome to Football and Fitness United. My name's James, and we're here to look forward to this evening's Premier League game. Big game between Chelsea and Manchester United. I'm joined by two people that you may have seen before. You may know, first of all, to the side of me, that side, I think. Tone, how are you doing, mate?
Very good. How about yourself, James?
I'm good, mate. Looking forward to the game this evening, that's for sure. And I'm joined down below, just on time, in the nick of time, by former pro Nathan Ellington. How are we doing, Nate?
I'm good. I'm very confident about today, especially the fact that we've beaten obviously most of the top six, let's say. I think we'll be able to go there, and we've got enough to beat them. So really confident.
Yeah, we got three confident Reds on by the sound of it. I've just put down below, please like the video, comment, share, subscribe. It all helps. Hit 500 subs today. What's that about? Absolutely mental. And that's all, unbelievable, right? And that's all thanks to you guys all helping, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and all that fun stuff. So keep it going. If you're watching live, get in the comments, give me a predicted lineup, give me a predicted score. Any questions you've got for me, Tone or Nath, just throw them in. But only one place to start, really. I know it's a Chelsea preview, but we can't preview the game without dissecting and looking at the last game. So Spurs on Wednesday, come on, Tone, best performance in years, right?
I'll be hard-pressed to find a game in the last 2 years that's made me feel the optimism and the hope that I got from that game, the dominance we showed. I must admit, before that game, I was there, if we get a draw, it's a good result. And then watching the game, and I've watched it back so many times, the highlights, I can't believe how dominant we were against a team. Everyone on Twitter was going, we're going to get found out today. Tottenham's defence is going to be too much for us. Kane and Son are going to be... And you know what? Give the United players their credit. They dominated it from the first minute to the 90th minute. Tottenham never looked like they had a chance of getting into that game whatsoever. And that's just down to the brilliance of all the United players and the tactics that Ten Hag put forward in that game. So, yeah.
It was excellent to watch, mate. And to be honest, just touching on that point, I'm sure you've all seen my little Twitter tirades, but honestly, the amount of abuse that people were giving at 7:30 when or 7:15 when the team news was released. Ten Hag doesn't know ball. How can he keep Fred in the team after Sunday? He's dropped Ronaldo. He's a disgrace, all this. Nathan, what do you think of all that? He's the manager, right? It's his choice. We just need to back him and listen, right?
100%. And also, I didn't think Fred was that bad against Newcastle anyway. I didn't think it was that bad. I felt like he kept the ball moving. We know what he's about mostly anyway. But what his job is to help Casemiro defend, obviously when we don't have the ball. And then in attack, we want the other players to be able to get in them positions and score. And the problem is a lot of the times the ball's falling to him where he has to take the shot or he has to play the through ball. He's done all right playing the through ball. It's about taking the shot. So you want it to fall to Cristiano, and that's the problem, isn't it? And when you don't get to Cristiano, then everyone starts saying Cristiano come off, and and I just think we're just not in terms of the Fred situation. Look, I don't think people should be saying things like that. I think they should just be backing the team, especially with winning. It's not like it's a despicable performance. It's good enough that you don't need to say anything, and you move on to the next game and take it as it is for the next one.
Yeah, to be honest, I remember being in the ground on Sunday and he was getting a lot of stick and stuff, but I don't think Eddie Howe got enough credit for how he set up his Newcastle team. They were defensively very, very sound. They didn't have their best, two players attacking wise, so they had to play a different way. They obviously set it up so anytime United got the ball, the spare man was Fred because he was the weakest out of the midfield three on the ball. And that was by design. That wasn't luck, by the way. They gave him space on the ball. Because if you were going to give Bruno, Casemiro or Fred space on the ball, you'd give it Fred, right? So people didn't give Eddie Howe enough credit. They just see a Manchester United performance and they just think, oh, it's up to us to impact the game, which I kind of agree sometimes. But at the same time, you've got to look at the opposition. And what did you think of the Newcastle game, mate, Tone?
I think Eddie Howe set up for the draw. He knew what he wanted and he got what he wanted. Newcastle set up very defensively. I think it kind of brought back questions that United fans have been asking for a long time. Why can't we beat the low block teams? Why do we succumb to that sort of tactic? I think another day we score 2 or 3. So the referee, I don't want to put any quotes on referees because at the end of the day, you're crying over spilt milk, really. There's no point. But maybe there was 1 or 2 decisions that didn't go our way. But Newcastle set for what they wanted and they got what they deserved.
They did, mate. And Nath, moving on to a topic that me and you have spoken to a fair bit.
Yeah.
How good was Casemiro on Wednesday, man? I know you're waiting to talk to me about it, so come on, you guys about him. Go on.
Just unbelievable, man. The things that he can do. He's got the whole toolbox. When the ball's on his left foot and he sees something, he can play that ball. When it goes to his right, he can play the ball. And it's the times when he gets the ball coming back at him, and then he just whips it in at the back post, stuff like that. And then he's ghosting into positions to get shots off as well. And then the most important part is he's winning so many challenges. He's coming out on top with so many of them, and he's just using the ball very well. And that's what I could see in the player. I could see that in him. And I just think that that's exactly what we've been missing all this time for so many years now. We haven't got. I don't think we really replaced Carrick, and now we finally have. And I'm really, really happy that we've got him in here. And again, he's not as slow as I thought he was in terms of once he gets going. But on the turn and stuff, sometimes he does get beaten like that. But in the end, the rest of the players are there now to be able to do their jobs as well. So I'm just really happy that everybody's doing their job to a high level, and we're just playing really, really well. And again, Casemiro's world-class abilities are showing now.
Yeah, I mean, that midfield three against Spurs on Wednesday was very, very good. And moving on to the Chelsea side of things, I mean, I'll come to both of you. Tone first. Are we keeping that midfield three, mate? Does Eriksen come back in? Does Scott come back in? What do you see?
I think it's a very good dilemma for Ten Hag to have. Midfielders that have been playing well, it's whenever we ever had this in the last few years where we've gone, there's so many midfielders that could come. The midfield is probably our most open position now. There's so many players, there's so many variable positions you can play different players for different games, different tactics, things like that. Personally, based on history, I don't think Ten Hag will change the midfield, and I don't think you should drop Fred. Fred was brilliant on Wednesday, and I did knock him for the miss that he made on Sunday, but he answered his critics on Wednesday. I think Casemiro. We've both spoken about Casemiro, whether or not he should have started in some games, whether he should have been part of it. Form is temporary, class is permanent. Everyone knows he's a brilliant player. His record speaks for itself, and I think we're just starting to get a glimpse of what a player he's going to be for this club. Like Nathan was saying, he's just a fantastic player to watch. He was a joy to watch on Wednesday.
Yeah, he's a well-oiled machine. He's a Rolls Royce of a midfielder to go with the Rolls Royce that we've got at the back, right? I think he's absolutely class. So, Nathan, are you keeping the same midfield three? I mean, Bruno was good, hard to drop him. Fred, if we want to play the same way, he's essential to that. And Casemiro or Clasemiro, he has to stay. So are you keeping him? Yeah, I'm patenting that, by the way. Clasemiro stays with me.
I'm going to use that, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you the credit for it as well. But definitely, I'd pick the same team. And the same thing is we're now starting to see how Ten Hag reacts to the next game, and he's been doing this now. I wasn't able to kind of like guess what he was going to pick. Every time I've guessed, I've got it wrong. So now I'm realizing, right, he is going to play the player who's done well. Fred has done very well, and plus we're playing Chelsea away. It's not going to be an easy game. Like, we have to be able to defend well, first and foremost. And we realize that against City, we can't just go all out attack, with one defense. I think we should have had two defensive midfielders against City now looking back at it. Yeah. And maybe would have had a better job at letting in less goals. But, now going forward, I think we definitely need to play Fred again. He's done well. He's scored as well. Bruno, I think he played his best game in a long time. He's pretty much close to perfect. And Casemiro, as you know, played his best game as well. So you can't really change that side. And as well, you're playing against a Chelsea where you need to be defensively sound as well. So I think it works perfectly that the same team starts again.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I'm going to put my predicted 11 across the bottom. I'll do it now, actually, because I actually think that he's going to pick the same team as he did on Wednesday. There is an argument for Eriksen coming back in if he's fit. If we want to play more of a possession style game rather than a high pressing game, like Eriksen could easily play. I think he's better on the ball than Fred is. That's proven. But I think Fred's energy is higher than Eriksen's. So if he decides to press, then he plays Fred. If he decides that he wants to control the game, then he probably plays Eriksen. But I think the front three picks itself. The back five definitely picks itself if you ignore injuries. They've been phenomenal. But I want to talk on a player now that probably hasn't got a lot of plaudits recently because he's not really put the ball in the net. But for one, I actually think he's been superb. Tone, talk to me about Marcus Rashford recently.
You know, Rashford, for me, all he needs now is the goals to go with his performances recently. Yeah. And once the goals come, Rashford will be on fire. I think it's just a matter of time. I think you know what he's trying to do. Thierry Henry was saying on Wednesday after the Spurs game, I think sometimes he puts too much pace in the ball as well as the placement. But I think once he gets over that duck, I think he'll be on it. And I've been impressed with his performance. People who aren't even United fans have been telling me, "Who's this Rashford? How come Rashford started showing up again? Where's this guy been for the last year? He should be in the England team again." He's playing for a place to go to Qatar at the moment, and fair play to him because, I know I was one of his critics last season for a lot of games. But you can't deny that he's wanting to improve on his aspect of his game. I've noticed things that he's doing now that he wasn't really doing as much. Like his tracking back's been really good recently. I do think he leans a little bit to the left a bit too much. You can see he's got that left winger about him. But at the moment, as I said it forward, I think he's probably our best option in the team.
I think he's our best available option. Nathan would probably argue once everyone's fit, there's probably someone else that suits the role better, but we'll ignore that topic for now. But I think he's offered a lot recently. I think obviously against Ammonia, he had multiple chances. Unfortunately didn't score, but I thought his all-round game was very good. Big chance against Newcastle, but he also created the one for Fred, and that game changed when he came on. Like the whole dynamic up front changed when he came on. And I think he's looked much sharper than he has in recent times. And confidence is a big thing for strikers. And obviously we've got an X1 down there. So Nath, talk to me about Rashford and the impact that a goal could have on him going forward.
Obviously we were all upset with him more last year because of his performances, more than anything really. It's about the whole performance. And this season he's come and he's got better and better, because at the start of the season he's not playing that well, but he scored a few goals. And it was he's not that good as a striker, but at least he scored. But now he's actually getting better at performances, and then he's lost the goals recently. But look, I'd rather that, because the goals will come. The goals are going to come when you're playing that well and you're creating that many chances. The goals are going to come. But all he needs to do now is just get back on the training field and practice doing a run before that shot, because you do have to slow things down. You do have to get better at that. That's what puts you into the highest of the high, of the ability of the strikers that are out there. When you're talking about the world-class strikers, they do their little bits, open out, and then slot home. They slow it down in their head, even though it's quick on the pitch. And that's something that he just needs to work on to be able to get that other side. And when he does, man, we could be looking at close to what Haaland was doing. If you look at the amount of chances he's had in the Ammonia game, then Newcastle, and then Spurs, he could have had 7 or 8 goals already. So imagine, even if he scored half of that, we'd be happy. So end of the day, I'm happy with what he's doing. Keep performing the way you're performing, and he'll be definitely in the England squad. That's number one. Number two, he's going to get 20 goals. If he continues playing like that, he will get 20 goals this year.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And it's great to hear it from a striker's point of view. But I completely agree. I think he's playing excellent. But we're going to move on to the other end of the pitch, because I got home Wednesday night and I think I swapped jeans with Martinez because I found Harry Kane in my pocket, and I need to send him back. But Tone, talk to me about Martinez. I mean, pocketed the lad, did he?
I don't think I fell in love with a player so quickly in my lot in such recent memory than I have with Martinez. He's just a warrior, isn't he? You can tell every game he plays it like it's his last. Even when he makes his mistake, his first mind is not to put his head down, his head straight back up, and he's on it. For 90 minutes, he makes sure that his job is done. And he's, just the aura he brings around him. And like, the thing is, so many people were saying his height's not right for the Premier League. He hasn't got the physicality for the Premier League. You know what I mean? Like, so I could see it from the first day when he came on against Brighton. This guy is a special player. Like, I know it weren't our day against Brighton, but you could just see just the way he plays the ball, just little things. And he's proven a lot. He's made a lot of people eat humble pie, and I'm proud of him for that. And I hope he continues that brilliant form today and for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and one of those people he's made eat humble pie is Jamie Carragher, which is amazing because he's played that position himself, right? So it's very surprising that he'd have that attitude. But obviously the game was different 10, 15, 20 years ago. So it's not necessarily the attributes that you needed then that you need now. I mean, are you surprised by those comments, Nathan, that, he said that Martinez was never going to be able to play centre-back? And what have you seen from Martinez this season?
100% surprised, because I was saying, look, he's already done it. He's already shown it. He's been in the Champions League. He's kept Haaland quiet. He's kept the likes of Mbappe quiet. How can he come into this league and all of a sudden you're saying he can't handle it? He's played at the highest level. Played for Argentina as well. So there's levels to this. I realized this as well. When I was coming up through the leagues, I only, when I come up one level and I'm like, wow, players can play balls like that. And then you come up another league, wow, you can get even better balls. So it's just crazy. You don't realize it till you're actually on the pitch receiving them kind of balls. And now I can see when Martinez comes, and you can see the way he wraps the ball into people, the way his timing of passing, his positioning, his awareness. He's always being aware of everything that's going on. And then the ability to obviously go and do the job. That's what I can see. And that's what I'm saying, that, wow, we have got a top centre-back there. And then Varane, it makes his job a lot easier as well. I think they just all complement each other very, very well. Even Dalot now, he just has to concentrate on his own job. Shaw is looking even better as well. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's because of the... I think it's two reasons. I think it's because of the players he's playing with, as well as he's got Malacia behind him again. So that's two things there. And yeah, long may it continue, because we need all our players at our highest level. And Shaw, mate, I can't believe Shaw's playing as well as he's playing again. I'm so happy. So, you know...
Mate, I'm buzzing for it. And people like, I'll just touch on this quickly, but people that say, oh, he's been here 8 years, we can't trust him. It's like, you're a Manchester United fan, right? You want the best person playing in that position. That's simple. Yeah. And it's like, Malacia had his chance. Malacia was very, very good for a while. Yeah. Malacia's performance dropped for 2 games. Shaw came in. Shaw's level's been very good. Yeah. If Shaw's performance drops, then Malacia is going to get a chance. That's how competition for places works. And it amazes me that people don't understand that, because they get so attached to a favourite player. And I'm like, listen, Casemiro is absolutely world-class and he's playing amazing. Like, his last game was incredible. If his level drops for several games in a row, then Scott is there, and people aren't going to like to hear that, but it's a squad game. And it's like, listen, if your level drops, then you are there to be replaced. That's why you need to be pushed at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you someone who has improved their game recently, and I know... So Nate's got a YouTube channel. I'll shout it out. It's Duke's United Show. If you've never been over there, you should do. I'll try and link it down below. It's awesome content. And he has some people on. And I know that recently you did a show on De Gea, right? And he's someone that personally, I think, Tone, I mean, he's improved a lot recently. His distribution seems to be good. And people have said, like, a lot of people got clean slates when Ten Hag came in, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, he can coach this player. He can improve this player. But people seem to have it in their head that De Gea can't be coached. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's like, but he's young for a goalkeeper, right?
He's only 30 years old, isn't he? He's like 31, 29. He's not old at all for a goalkeeper. I think De Gea has been, his biggest issue has always been his confidence. I don't think his ability's ever been questioned. Ever. Like, I could, you know, that shot stopping ability he had in seasons past. How many times has he been player of the season for United? Like 3, 4? Yeah. So ridiculous. And yeah, I do understand there was criticisms of his kicking ability, but the last against Everton, we had a reaction show. I was talking to you how good his distribution has been. Good. There's obviously things that he's been working on, and you know, we need to praise the players for putting in the effort to improve and to what's the word, adapt their game to suit the new manager, because obviously Ten Hag likes the goalkeeper who plays with his feet, likes to go, like, look at his, I'll give you one example. De Gea was so used to staying on his line, and how many times have you seen him coming up even like 6 extra yards to make sure that ball that goes in between the defense and the goalkeeper, he's coming in for those balls now. That, you know, and I think we need to praise him, because a lot of people are going to goalkeeper, and myself included. Goalkeeper was going to be one of the first names on the transfer list for next season. The way he's playing at the moment, I don't think it's something that needs to be decided in the immediate future. I think he's been brilliant the last few games.
Yeah, and you know what's funny, right? I can list a number of players, and they all had really good seasons like 6 or 7 years ago. So Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, David De Gea. That was the last time I would say we had a proper coach in charge in Louis van Gaal. Since then, we've had managers. We've had either checkbook managers, born winners, people new to the job, club legends, whatever you want to call them, like directors of football became managers. We've not really had a coach since Louis van Gaal. All those players were excellent when they were coached in a style by Louis van Gaal. Since then, their level has dropped. Sometimes it's peaks and troughs, depending on who it is. Now we've got a coach in charge again. You need to give those players the time and the patience to be coached by the new coach, because they are improving. There's no doubt that Luke Shaw's level's gone up, that De Gea's level's gone up, that Rashford's level's gone up. When Martial was fit in pre-season, it's the best Anthony Martial I've seen potentially ever. Like, all their players, all their levels have gone up. People like Fred, when he played the other night, superb. Scott McTominay's level has unquestionably gone up under a coach. Diego Dallo, massively gone up. So it's like these players have improved. Nathan, you must see a lot of players improving under Ten Hag, right?
Yeah, I think the word is it's improving altogether, but it all comes down to structure in my mind. When I played with structure, all the players know where they got to be and where they're going to have to go. And when you do that, it just makes the team flow so much better as well. So now I think they've had the ability. I think Shaw had the ability to do what he does. In terms of getting better at a certain skill, I'm not sure if they got. I think obviously in terms of like positioning, as you said, Tone, a goalkeeper positioning. If you tell De Gea, listen, you got to be further up the field, then they'll work on that. I think that's something that they'll be able to definitely do. In terms of his ability to actually kick the ball with like that zing. I don't think he'll ever get that zing to his shots, but what I do to his kicking, but I do think he's definitely improved in terms of what he has to do for the team and what Ten Hag wants him to do. And again, that goes for every player. Every player looking way better because they are told exactly what they need to do. How many times last year we see players are standing on the ball looking for someone going, who should I play it to? And they're holding on to the ball for 5 seconds. And that's the problem because they didn't have... And now Ten Hag saying, listen, when he's on the ball, I want you running here, you go in there. You've got 3 options. Every time someone gets on the ball, has to have 3 options or 4 options, whatever it is. And that changes everything. And as you know, we kind of reverted back to playing a bit poor in some games. And then he said, listen, we're not moving. We're going back to the old style. We need to move again. Exactly what we learned in the training field. You do that again. And then we come out the second half, start playing again. And I think it was the Ammonia game, first half. And then second half, we started playing and got our goals. The away game. Yeah. So to be fair, players are definitely looking much, much better. And it's all down to Ten Hag, I believe.
Yeah, mate, I completely agree on the movement thing, because how many times have we been in the ground and we hear people jeering because they see a player not passing, and it's like, but look at the options they've got. No one's moving. And then all of a sudden you get a good player like Eriksen and bed him into the team who creates space in between the lines. And it's like, you've got an option all of a sudden. It's like you've got little triangles, you're passing and moving, and it's just completely different. Whereas so many times I've seen Varane, Martinez, Maguire, Dalot, Shaw, whoever it is, at the back, and then they go back to the keeper and people scream, and it's like, but there's no options. You want them to pass forward, get closed down, and then the other team are on the counter attack. Like, you've got to understand the game. It's crazy. But coming on to this evening's game, because obviously it's not just United are playing Chelsea. Chelsea under a manager that has already beaten us once this season at Old Trafford. So we should very much know what we're getting ourselves into. It's going to be a tough game. Tone, talk to me about Chelsea. Where's their threat? Where can they hurt us?
Well, I did a bit of research behind Chelsea because obviously I don't really follow them. I obviously keep a casual interest in them. Yeah. So in regards to Chelsea under Graham Potter, they've not lost a single game under him. Yeah. They've been unbeaten longer than Liz Truss was Prime Minister.
But then the lettuce survived.
The lettuce survived. So I guess we haven't beaten them in the last 5 meetings. In the Premier League. So, I mean, they have got a few injuries here and there. So there are a few players that aren't going to be in the team that could have been a threat to us. I mean, Reece James was arguably going to be England's starting right back at the World Cup. He's out. Kante's out till way after Christmas. Big miss for them. Fofana, their £80 million signing, he's not in the team. I looked at the team on Wednesday against Brentford. It looked like a dead game. I've got a few friends who are Chelsea fans. There wasn't really much here and there. It was just a game that happened. And they did make a few changes. Aubameyang didn't start. Neither did Thiago Silva, because I think Graham Potter's forefront mind was at the forefront of the United game today. But the thing is with them, they haven't really got an out-and-out goal scorer in their team. Their top scorer in the Premier League is Raheem Sterling with 3 goals. I know the same could be said for us. But they're not really, the games haven't been very high scoring affairs either. Yeah. So it's interesting. But I was listening to Thomas Frank against Brentford, and I think he said the beauty with Graham Potter is, even though he starts with 5 at the back, he can change formations very quickly. And we noticed that when we saw him against Brighton versus United at the start of the season. He changed it based on how he feels the game's going. So it could start at 5 wing backs with 2 defensive wing backs. And then he brings on players like Pulisic to play at left wing back, but they're not really playing left wing back. They're playing left wing. So it's interesting what he's going to do. But I do think Thiago Silva's going to be back in the team. I think Aubameyang will start up front for the attacking threat and the goal threat that he brings. But it's going to be an interesting style of tactics again, like Wednesday.
It's going to be really interesting, mate. And when I look at it, like I'm going to take you back, Nathan, to the transfer window in the summer, right? And everyone was saying our business was really poor, and everyone was using like Chelsea as the model. You know, they were going out and getting whoever they wanted. But when you look at how our signings have bedded in, and how Chelsea signings, you look at Koulibaly, you look at Aubameyang, you look at Fofana, they signed several players, and it's like, well, have they really? Yeah, have they fit in? Like, have they bedded in? And where are you seeing the danger from Chelsea come this evening?
Obviously, not looking at the game before, because I think, as you said, Tone, the players are getting rested for this game, and we always know Sterling's going to be a danger, but he doesn't ever seem to be a danger against us.
Never scores. Never scores. Touch wood.
Touch wood, man.
Never scores against us.
But yeah, you've got Aubameyang. We know how he is. We know how he scores goals for fun. He's still scoring now. So for him, we got to be careful about him and Sterling, the link up. And you know what? I didn't know a lot about Broly. Obviously, he went on loan. I think it was Southampton. Was it Southampton last year?
Yeah.
And then I seen a little clip of him pacing out defense. I was like, wow, you are quick.
Yeah, I've only seen him a couple of times, but he's a danger man.
Yeah, so we do know the danger players, but the thing is, they do have injuries. And Reece James, we know he's a major player for them, for assisting and scoring goals as well. So to not have that, it makes it much more in our favour. Well, I believe it does. And as you say, when you look at their side and you look at the players they've brought in, I don't think they've bedded in the way our players have bedded in. I think we had a much better transfer time then compared to them. Even though the players they looked on paper may have looked better in terms of Koulibaly, Man City were after Cucurella, so he goes there, and you're thinking, oh, what's going on here? And then they get Fofana in, who's well liked at Leicester for a lot of money, and then they get rid of the manager. So it's just weird. That was just a very weird one. But again, against the last team, against Brentford, they played. My friend who's a supporter of Chelsea, and he was saying they should have lost. So. Really? Yeah, they said they should have lost. So it was a pretty poor game. But again, you got a few more players to come back in. Thiago Silva's going to be back. So it is going to be tough. They have only conceded 10 goals this season. So that's one thing we know. They're going to be very tough to break down. But we do have enough to create chances if we do finish those chances this time. And I hope we just get to finish them off this time, because it's a law of averages, isn't it? We've had so many shots now. It's got to be goals now.
I'm hoping for the opposite. I'm just hoping we have an opposite kind of game today, where we just get like 2 chances, 2 goals. Like just literally just get like shithouse the game, 2 chances, go down the other end and score, basically. But it's going to be an interesting one with Reece James missing, because I don't know who they're going to play right wing back or right back. Are they going to play?
Do you want to know who they play? Do you know
he played there?
Loftus-Cheek played on Wednesday at right wing back.
Yeah.
Wow. So in that case, I mean, is there a case for switching Anthony and Sancho and putting Anthony on the left and letting him have a run at? I mean, what do you reckon? Go on, Nath.
No, I was just saying, I would like to see Anthony on the left and Sancho on the right, because I think Sancho actually looks better on the right for me for some reason.
Yeah.
And then you can then see crosses in as well. Like for when Cristiano plays, he's going to need some kind of support, and he's not going to play this game, but in the future, man, I want to see them being switched over and us being able to get crosses in and also being able to come inside as well. So, yeah, I want to see Sancho playing on the right. That's what I want to see, but we're not going to see him often because Anthony's doing his job. So, again, competition for places, I don't mind it. But as long as we've got them players to choose from, I'm happy with whatever he chooses because we're playing well. We're playing well at the minute, and we've got abundance of talent in those areas at the moment.
We are, mate, and we'd be pretty silly to second guess Erik ten Hag at the moment, because I think we can all agree he's doing a pretty good job. And we basically covered the Chelsea game. I didn't want to give this much airtime because obviously I don't think it deserves much airtime, but it is part of Manchester United at the moment. Just want to touch on the Ronaldo situation, guys. Obviously, he's not part of the matchday squad today. He's been banished from the squad, was made to train with the under-21s. And I've been speaking to fans that aren't United fans, that are other fans, and they've all come at me and said, you know, how well Erik ten Hag has handled it. He's stamped it authority down. No one's bigger than the club. And, you know, he's fined him. He's made him train alone. And it sets an example. And that's what he said again in his press conference. He said, you know, we got a warning in the preseason game against Vallecano when he left, and he's done it twice. And, you know, actions have consequences, and it doesn't matter who you are. There has to be consequences to set examples. Tone, your quick thoughts on Ronaldo?
I think Ronaldo, there's no denying he's a brilliant player. He's a legend, club legend for us. I don't think that's in dispute. I think Ten Hag did the right thing, and I think Ten Hag has to set an example. He has to set a precedent for the rest of the team, right? Obviously, I'm talking this from an amateur setting. Nathan will obviously know a lot more about how it's dealt with in like a professional setting. But I'm saying in regards to even at the lowest level, if a player disrespects the whole team, even if it's things like, say, for example, menial things such as turning up late, not bothering paying their subs, just little things like that. And then obviously at the higher level where, you know, they're getting paid an astronomical wage and they're not bothered turning up for 10 minutes. It's not like the thing is, Ronaldo can't complain about the opportunities he's been given this season. You know, I know we don't know what happened in pre-season. We don't know why he wasn't there. You know, it's still up for dispute. Obviously, I don't want to talk about rumours. I just want to talk about facts. But the fact is, he's had opportunities this season. And has he really delivered on these chances that he's had thus far? I don't think he has. His return hasn't been very good. I understand that he's playing a completely new system to what he's played in the past. I do hope there is a return in sight for him, because I do think there is something to be, there is a benefit to having him in the team. He's one of the best players of all time. And in a season like this, where the season's going to drag on a lot, especially after the World Cup, we're going to need someone of his experience, of his caliber. But I hope he can apologise, and I hope we can move forward from this. It will take a lot for it to happen. I don't know whether he will. Maybe his ego gets in the way. Obviously, I don't know Cristiano. All I know is what I see on TV. But I'm hoping this can all get resolved in the most efficient just the most efficient manner possible, in the respectable fashion as well. But it'd be interesting to see what happens this January.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right thing that he's not in the squad today. I think it's a positive thing that they can focus fully on the Chelsea game, because it's going to need it. I'm going to ask Nathan for his angle, because it'll be slightly different. Nathan, if you were Marcus Rashford in that dressing room at the moment and you see Ronaldo acting like that, what's your thought process, mate? How do you see it?
I think it's a thing between the player and the club. I wouldn't get involved unless it affected us as the team on the day. So we know there's always issues that go on with players and clubs. So, you know, you're in a changing room, you're chatting with the teammates, you're telling them how they might be taking the mick from your point of view. You know, listen, he's taking the mick, they're blah, 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 they're doing this, they're doing that. And I've got to do something. So that's what happened with me when I was at West Brom and I wanted to leave. So I didn't play towards the end. But yeah, I've always been professional. It's the same thing with Cristiano. He's always been professional throughout his whole career. He's got to this stage right now where he is getting older, but he just come off 20-something goals at the end of last season. Yeah. And he hasn't been given the chance to fail. This is in his mind. I haven't even played and failed yet for you to keep taking me out. I've been top scorer last year. I've been the main man, probably player of the season, and you're taking me out. How come? So in his mind, he's being professional. I've got to be professional. And then he's not playing. And he can't handle it because he's not used to that. Yeah. For all his whole career, he's not used to it. So he flew off the handle, and he realized he's made a mistake. And he's already come out and said something which is pretty close to an apology. Yeah. And,
borders on the line of an apology, yeah.
Yeah. So he'll come back, he'll be involved. But the main thing, the difference is Ten Hag knows how he wants to play. And unfortunately, that's not the way Cristiano can play anymore. He can't play in the way of dribbling. He can't play in the way of you slot him in and he outpaces people. You have to play being able to put balls in the box for him. He's so good in the air. He's not so mobile anymore. Can we not try and find a way of finding him? When he plays, can we not think of a way that we're going to find him? So that's what I was talking about with Anthony on the left and maybe Sancho on the right. Now you can cross balls in for him. can rain balls in with even Dalot as well, and Shaw and them two. So now you've got 4 options coming from wide, where Cristiano will absolutely love to get balls in the air, and you see him just hanging in the air, scoring headers for fun. And that's what he'll do. And that's what he can do. He can still do that today. Because we all know if it was at City right now, he'll be banging similar amount of goals, because they're all in the box, 6-yard box, tap in, cross in, header. He'll do that.
Yeah.
But again, we have to play it to his way, and hopefully he won't have too many toys out of the pram again. And the last thing I want to mention on that is he has to come to terms with the fact that he is getting to 37, 38, and he is going to need to be a squad player. But you're going to have to go through this part here, and then something's going to click in his head. Okay, I'm happy with it now. I'm at peace with it. Now I can actually be that squad player. So,
as a striker, Nath, I just want to ask you, like, when you were coming to the end of your career, how did you take it not being the main man of a strike force anymore? Was it like a similar with what you just mentioned now about what Ronaldo should do? Was that something that you took on board, or did you go a different way about it?
I think mine happened to me a little bit earlier, before I even got older and slower and everything. It was a case of I was playing every season, scoring 20 plus goals every season. And then I went to West Brom and they had 6 strikers. And then I was not playing so much. I still top scored at the end of that Premiership season. But they didn't play me I played like 11 games in the end out of 38.
So Nate, give yourself some credit. Who else was in that team? Go on. Kanu.
Okay. Kanu, Kamara, Kevin Campbell, Jeff Horsfield, Robert Earnshaw, kind of players.
So we had players,
so we had quite a lot of players playing. The thing is, me and Kanu were top scorer with 5 league goals each, and you had Kevin Campbell and Horsfield ahead. And we just wondered, why the hell do you play 2 players who are hold-up men, not the fast one with a big hold-up man? You just played both like hold-up men, and it didn't make sense to me. But obviously, that's why we got relegated that year. So in the end, we didn't score enough goals. It wasn't because of them, but obviously we didn't make the right decisions throughout the whole season. So yeah, for me, in the end, it's a case of you do in your mind think your way, don't you? So in my mind,
of course you do.
why am I not starting? Like when I went to Ipswich, that was pretty much the time where I was still doing well. And the manager who had me at Wigan, he actually had me and I was starting all the time, scoring all the time. And when I went to Ipswich, I knew that I was going to be a squad player. But then even when the players weren't playing well and they were going through barren runs, he wouldn't play me. And I went in to see him. I said, why are you not playing me? I don't have the time. I don't have the time to give you to get a run of games. I'm like, but you're giving the other guy a run of games. What's going on? So it's just a thing of, it's managers' decisions. Like there's nothing, you live and die. Your career is good or bad based on managers. If the manager gives you your chance, then you can have your career. If the manager ain't playing you, how many players are not playing? Like right now, people don't even like Donny van der Beek right now because he doesn't play and he comes on every now and again. He doesn't really do a lot. But imagine he was playing every week and then he was playing bad. Then we can say, yeah, he's not good enough. But right now, the jury's still out until he actually starts getting a run of games. And that's the killer, man. It's a manager's thing. If a manager decides to play you, then you get the chance to actually see if they're good enough.
Yeah, that's completely fair enough, mate. Coming towards the end, I mean, if anyone has to go, then they can shoot off. We might just stay on to get the team news reaction. I think it's going to come out in a couple of minutes. And before we do, what do match predictions? So I'll kick us off, actually, because I normally get to see what you guys say and then I'll go, but I'm not having any of this copycat nonsense this time. Tight game, 1-0 win for United. Who scores it? Don't care. But 1-0 win United. I'll say Bruno Fernandes. Tone, where are we going?
I want to say 1-0 United or 2-0 United. I do. No, because that in my head, I think it'll be a very close game either way. But history has dictated the last 4 games between us. It's been a draw. So I have to go with the statistics here and probably say it's going to be 1-1. But I'm hoping we could pull off another 2-0 like we did against Tottenham. Absolute domination.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Nathan, come on, round off the optimism. Come on, you've got to.
I'm going with a 1-0 win. I'm going with a 1-0 win, and I believe it will be Sancho. I think he'll get a goal. Ooh. I think everyone will think about all the other players, and then all of a sudden, Sancho will get his little chance out of nowhere, and he'll bag a goal, and we'll win the game 1-0.
He did it last season, didn't he? He got the equaliser.
Yeah, exactly.
After that mistake.
I'm seeing, I mean, we'll get confirmation in a couple of minutes, but I'm seeing what Tone mentioned before, actually, that Eriksen might have come in to replace Fred. That's what I'm seeing at the moment. It's not been confirmed yet, so don't quote me on that.
What's the job there so far, hasn't he?
I've just got on.
What?
Yeah, I can't see it yet. No, I can't see it yet either. Yeah.
No, it'll come up on Twitter soon enough. But yeah, so you're going 1-0. I'm going 1-0. Tony's going 1-1/2-1/1-0, just covering all his bases, basically.
Alan's horse in every race.
Going 2-1 United. Big up yourself, Alan. Cheers for the comment. So yeah, just before we go, we'll touch on a few things. Like you heard Nate's opinion from like inside the dressing room and stuff just before, and giving a different insight onto like the Ronaldo situation, because we can all speak as fans, right? But it's amazing to have someone that's played the game at a high level and give that level of insight, basically. So Nate, do you want to big up your own channel? You obviously have you're a Man United fan. You've got a Man United fan channel. Where can they find you, mate?
Yeah, you just find me at Duke's United Show on YouTube and all the other Twitter handles and the YouTube and all of that. It's mostly on YouTube. But yeah, it's great to have you guys to be on the show as well. You've just started and you're absolutely flying, James. So loving it.
Weird, isn't it? I don't know how that's happened to little old me, but it's working anyway. Tone, do you want to big yourself up? Any socials or anything like that?
You can follow me on Twitter at Tone_1995. I mean, I just purely talk about Man United, sometimes politics, and sometimes about just stupid stuff. But just want to congratulate you once again on your 500 subs. It was never in doubt. You're too modest to admit that you're going to. You know what I mean? It's too modest to admit. I knew from day dot, just from your history and everything you've done in the past, sometimes it takes time for someone to get their flowers, and you're only just starting to get yours. So, here's to 500, and here's to 500,000 more.
Big up yourself, man. Massively appreciate that. Just before we go, the lineup has come out. I don't know whether you're going to be able, probably won't focus in on that, but that is Christian Eriksen in the midfield. That is not Fred. That is Christian Eriksen, if you can make that out. So the rest of the team remains unchanged. But quick thoughts before we go. Tone, I'll come to you. Thoughts on Eriksen over Fred, mate?
I think, like you said before we started, if Eriksen was to come in, it was purely tactical. I don't think it's anything to do with Fred as his performances. I just think it's a purely tactical decision. Yeah. And Eriksen does bring that stability and that passing ability that Fred doesn't have. But hopefully, whenever Ten Hag's made a change in certain games, it seems to have worked thus far. So hopefully that good run can continue. Touch wood once again.
Touch wood. I agree. And Nath, Eriksen will tear you apart again. Doesn't have the same ring as Fred, but are you happy with the change?
Yeah, I'm happy with the change. I just think the score will be a bit different. I think it might be 2-1 now.
He's changed. Backtrack FC.
Yeah, when I see the starting lineup, I have this thought in my mind that goes on. I'm trying to play the game in my head, and I can see it being a bit more open defensively for us now. So not massively open, but I think we won't be cutting out everything. I think we'd basically be able to cut out everything if Fred was there. But Eriksen is more going forward, so we might get more chances and score, but we might let the odd one in. So I'm going with 2-1 now. I'm going Sancho and Rashford.
There you go. I'll stick with my 1-0, and I'll be Maverick. I won't chop and change like everyone else. But, I've kept these guys for basically 45 minutes now, so I'm going to let them go. But as it says at the bottom, please like the video, comment, share, subscribe. As I said, over 500 subscribers, and here's to many, many more. But apart from that, thanks for your time, guys. That's been Nathan. That's been Tone. I've been James. This has been Football and Fitness United, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.